Hey, how's it going? Well, I'm back with story number 2, and it is titled Adam and Eve. Now, in story number 1, we talked about creation. We've talked about how God created the sky and put the lights in the sky and formed the waters into seas, into oceans, and dry land. And so now, story number 2 is titled Adam and Eve. And so in this story, we're going to learn about how God created man and woman. All right, so let's get into it. It says, Then the Lord God took dust from the ground and formed man from it. The Lord breathed the breath of life into the man's nostrils. The man became a living soul. The first man was called Adam. Then the Lord God planted a garden in the east in a place called Eden. The Lord God put the man in the Garden of Eden to care for it and work it. The Garden of Eden was a beautiful place. The Lord God caused every beautiful tree and every tree that was good for food to grow out of the ground. In the middle of the garden, God put the tree that gives life. And he put there the tree that gives the knowledge of good and evil. God told Adam, "You may eat the fruit from any tree in the garden, any tree, but one. But you must not eat the fruit from the tree that gives the knowledge of good and evil." That was the only rule. If you ever eat from that tree, you will die. And so let's stop right here. We have God has created the first man, which is Adam. And he has beautiful surroundings, a beautiful paradise to live in called Eden. And there he has anything and everything he could ever desire to eat, and plenty of beautiful scenery. There are animals around, all sorts of just beautiful surroundings. As I mentioned in story 1, the earth was at this point in time not tampered with by man, no pollution or anything like this. And so he has this beautiful place to live. All right. Now, also, we have to make mention of the rule, one rule to follow while he is in this beautiful garden. He can do anything and everything except eat from the tree of good and evil. And I want to make it known that rules, all right, or laws, as we call it today, are set in place to protect. All right, just think about it. If, let's say, the speed limit did not exist, if you go over the speed limit, what happens? The police pull you over, question you, find out what's your reason, and you get a speeding ticket, right? Same thing is true if you're going too slow. Then you're slowing up the flow of traffic, and it can be dangerous. Someone who's actually doing the speed limit could run into you. People, when they go too fast, they could run off the road. They can run into somebody else. There might be pedestrians, people walking. Someone could get run over. And so laws and rules are put in place to protect us. So many other, laws that I can mention are set in place for people's safety. All right. Set in place, excuse me, y'all. Set in place, I've been sneezing like crazy, and waterworks so far as eyes watering and nose running because of everything growing and blooming, and it has never bothered me before, but now it is. All right, so these laws and rules are set in place to protect us, to keep us safe. All right. And so God gave Adam one rule, only one. Do not eat the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. All right. And so let's continue on. It says, God decided it was not good for man to live alone. God put Adam in a deep sleep and removed one of his ribs. The Lord God used the rib from the man to make a woman. Her name was Eve. Eve was the first woman. When Adam woke up, he was excited to see another person. Adam and Eve lived happily in the Garden of Eden, obeying God's rules and enjoying the beautiful plants and animals. Now the snake was the most clever of all the animals and the Lord God had made. One day the snake spoke to the woman. He said, and I have to stop right here because the snake was being spoken through, all right, by the devil, okay? The enemy of God's people is the devil, all right? And so here, the enemy of God's people, the devil, is speaking through this snake, okay? This serpent, this snake. And he said, did God really say that you must not eat the fruit from any tree in the garden? And so what the devil is doing here, he is being sly and slick by posing this question. Did God really say this? Is this really what he said? Making her question. All right? He's speaking to Eve. He's speaking to the woman. It says, and the woman answered the snake, we may eat the fruit from the trees of the garden. But God told us, you must not eat the fruit from the tree that is in the middle of the garden. You must not ever touch it or you will die. Now she's talking about the tree, all right, of the knowledge of good and evil that God had already told Adam, right, that you must not eat from, okay? And so, of course, Adam, it was his responsibility to make sure that Eve knew the same rule, okay? And so, of course, she knew this. That's why she was able to tell it to the serpent, to the snake, to the devil speaking through the snake. She knew the rule. It was only one rule, so of course she could remember it. It was a very important one because if I do this, well, I'm going to die. So she tells him, but the snake said to the woman, you will not die. God knows that if you eat the fruit from the tree, you will learn about good and evil. Then you will be like God. So, what is happening here? The devil is telling the woman that God has told you a lie. Wow. So, her creator, the one who gave her life, the one who gave Adam life, the one who has placed them in the garden, the one who has given them any and everything that they could look around and see, touch, taste. God has given it to them. And he has given them one rule. Now that one rule is being put into question. Okay? And so she's like, all right. And so it says Eve wanted the wisdom that the tree would give her. So she took a piece of the fruit from the tree and bit it. She also gave some of the fruit to her husband and he ate it. Excuse me again, you all. Then It was as if the man's and the woman's eyes were open. They realized, all right, that they had disobeyed God. Because remember, this is the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And what they had done was evil. They went against God. They disobeyed. They broke the law or the rule. All right, what happens when you break the law? Punishment, okay? And so here they are, breaking the law of God. What has to come? Punishment. It says they became frightened and tried to hide from God. Later, the Lord called out to Adam, "Where are you? Why are you hiding yourself from me? Did you eat fruit from that tree?" Adam answered, "You gave this woman to me. She gave me fruit from the tree, so I ate it." Wow, putting the blame on somebody else. I'm going to blame this woman, God. I'm not going to take responsibility. All right. God asked Eve, "What have you done?" She answered, "The snake tricked me, so I ate the fruit." She's playing the blame game too. So the Lord cursed the snake to crawl on his stomach and eat dirt. Then he cursed the woman to suffer terribly during childbirth. To Adam, the Lord said, "You listened to what your wife said. You ate fruit from the tree that I commanded you not to eat from. So I put a curse on the ground. You will have to work very hard for your food. In pain, you will eat its food all the days of your life. The ground will produce thorns and weeds for you, and you will eat the plants of the field. You will sweat and work hard for your food. Later, you will return to the ground. This is because you were taken from the ground. You are dust, and when you die, you will return to the dust." So the Lord God forced the man out of the Garden of Eden. He had to work the ground he was taken from. After we break the law, after we break a rule, comes punishment. Hold on, y'all. All right, so had to open the door for my husband. All right, so as I mentioned, breaking a rule, breaking a law brings about punishment. If we obey it, it brings about blessings because we're safe. Others around us are safe. There's order. People are able to have peace when there is order in life. And so God gave us a rule. Here it was. We're to obey him. Adam and Eve had one rule, but they were enticed to break that rule or break that law by listening to the devil. We have to make sure that we today are not influenced by what the devil may try to draw us into, whether it's something like getting on drugs, alcohol abuse, whatever it is. You know, the devil will use things and people to try to influence us, whether it's television shows, whether it's music, or maybe the people we hang around. We have to make sure that we know what God has said that we should do. And we know this by reading the Bible. And so when we know what God has said and we obey what he has said, then we will be safe. We will have peace. We will have order. All right. And we will be blessed. So until next time, I will pray that everyone who watches will obey God. God bless you.